The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It is Wednesday, the first day of June, 2022. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, and Lindo's. I'm Philip Trott. She is Sandra Durham, and Maya Palacio will be with you in a bit to bring the latest in her news break. Good morning to our awesome audience. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. We've got a really good one this morning as we welcome back to the show Dr. Mark Guishard from the Bermuda Weather Service. We're going to be talking hurricane season, so make sure you stay tuned for that convo. Today's daily play is Music Trivia Essential. You ready for that one? It's going to be, it's going to be fun.
Maybe different.
What's that?
You.
It's going to be fun. I put some effort into this one. So I think it's going to be fun. You're going to like this one.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. How's everything?
Phil, I haven't seen you in a while. Like we haven't been.
I saw you at the parade.
Here in this space, Phil.
Oh yeah.
Here in this space, yes. But you had the time at the parade. Still,
I had a great time. I think you passed me twice or three times.
Listen, my little leg. How about Jamal and I talked about it yesterday? I looked at my phone. I did almost 14,000 steps.
14.
14.
Well, I was struggling, so I probably did about 10 steps. I was sitting back in my little chair.
You was under the swizzle drinkers, tasting everybody's swizzle?
No, actually, I think I was in one place for the whole day. People probably brought the swizzle to me, but
that was probably the safest bet at this point.
And it was still hot.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the discussion this morning. So Jamal said yesterday, he's like, "Oh, Phil, you want to talk about John Swan?" And I was like, "No, because I don't do politics very well. I'm interested, but I felt, but he's like, we talked and he's like, no, he's not coming on the show. We're talking about, his building the mural that they put up for the Queen's 70th Jubilee and whatnot. And, there was this uproar on Facebook and whatnot. I won't say uproar, but it was, it was there. Yeah.
Few loud people, usually.
Yeah. You know how Facebook gets. So, just straight up, and let's just bring it out to everybody. The question of the day is the mural of the Queen on the side of a building. What are your thoughts? And I have my thoughts. But I always think my thoughts are, I always think I'm either slow or crazy. So I want to let me hear if you have any thoughts. Let's get some thoughts from the audience first.
Question: what people need to understand, it should be the mural of the Queen on the side of John Swan's building. It's his building.
Okay.
Put whatever he wants on it. But what are we mad at? We're mad that he has a building, or are we mad at the mural that he decided? Come on. I saw on Facebook.
Right.
Somebody was like, that money could have been used for something else. You can't tell that man how to spend his money.
So let me give everybody some context, because I was working, I was focused yesterday. So Jamal didn't bring this up. I saw it, I glanced it, but I didn't really pay much attention to it. So I'll start with the sort of the critique. So it was a Facebook post by Jonathan Smith, who, by the way, was a former police commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
So he brings out two ironies about the whole mural. It says irony number one: Sir John gambled his political future on independence from the UK and the Queen in 1995 and lost. He argues that voters should ditch the Queen, cast aside the monarchy, and seek our future as an independent nation. Fast forward 27 years, and the Queen now takes pride of place at Sir John's building at the Gateway to Hamilton in her celebration of 70 plus years to the throne. That was the first irony. The second irony he pointed out was the Queen has long been portrayed as bringing people together. He called it nonsense. He said the world is more fragmented now than in 1952 when she became the Queen. And she's witnessed many nations abandon her rule, opt not to remain her quote-unquote subjects and become independent nation. He goes into talking about the Windrush saga. He goes into talk about how the Home Office's high potential individual visa program, which provides graduates a fast track to live and work in the UK. He said that that's great if you're a graduate from one of 37 listed universities, which are mostly in the US and Canada. But if you're from any of these other universities, which Caribbean, African, South Asian, or South American, not a single one is eligible for this program. So those were that's where the irony. He points out the irony. Oh, whoops, clicked on the wrong. Hi, Sherry. So that's what the irony that he pointed out, right? So we have a couple responses first. Let's go to the audience. Teresa Emery says, well, she is our queen. Jamel says, it's a private building. I don't see the issue. Furthermore, I thought Bermudians loved all things British. Jamel, you guys, thank goodness Jamel's not on this show today. They love the royal. See, I knew the regiment was coming. They love the Royal Bermuda Regiment, football teams, passports, etc. He also says, it seems like full outrage to me, in the words of a former leader of Bermuda, this too shall pass. So my thought, first when, because I was asking Jamel, I was like, well, what's the outrage about? Mm-hmm. I said, without having read the article or the Facebook post, I read the Facebook post, but I said, isn't that his building? He says, yep. I says, and it wasn't government money they used. He said, nope. I said, so he could do what he wants. And if people that are talking about, $15,000 or whatever, like, that sounds like a lot of money to us. That's not a lot of money to say, like, oh, these people could have used that money, or those people could have used that money. Like, I mean, yeah, if you spread it, if you were to give $15,000 to one organization, yeah, that's cool. But
I mean, we don't know what other money he gives to charity. So if he decides,
well, it wasn't. I don't think it was his money.
Okay.
I think he raised money from the businesses. It just says, the article just says businesses donated.
Even if, let's say, those businesses donated for that, like, that's what they want to do. They probably have another 50,000 that they donate to another cause. You know what I mean? So we can't say they spent $15,000 on this and it could have been somewhere else. This is what they chose to do with their budget during this time.
Yeah. I just told Jamal, I said, if you don't want to see the Queen as you drive into Hamilton, take your ferry. Like that. It's Sir John's building. Yeah,
and I mean, obviously, listen to the ironies of it. I get it, but I mean, do we really think 27 years later, do we feel like our Bermuda right now is in that space? No, I think that's the big topic right there. That can go into like an explosion of comments. Do we feel like we're in a space for independence right now?
Well, let me tell you something. Jamel comes back Monday. You could
talk about that on Monday.
Actually, Friday, I think it goes. What's today?
Friday.
Today's Wednesday, yeah. But so
Can we speak on that on Friday, please?
Go for it. But see, okay. So in reading Jonathan Smith's post, I actually didn't have an issue with him bringing up the ironies, because that's 1995 when, let's say, we talk about the independence thing, which he gambled on political future. He gambled his political future on independence from the UK and the Queen in 1995 and lost. That's the people that were born in 1995. Well, the people, let's put it this way. Sorry, let me phrase it this way. A good chunk of the people who can vote now weren't born in 1995. Right? So it's nothing wrong with bringing up ironies and historical facts. That's fine. Where I think Mr. Smith went south is when he started getting into the critique and how talking about. So let me read the last part. Exactly why is a hereditary monarchy something to celebrate to this excess? Its existence is the epitome of excess white privilege and harkens back to the days of kings, queens, lords, barons, and peasants. Well, it doesn't harken back. We have kings and queens today. To this day, the Queen oversees a parliamentary system that is proving to be deeply corrupt and replete with hereditary peers in the House of Lords. Yes, lawmakers who qualify for appointment only by their fluke of birth. Hardly a democracy, hardly worth a jubilee. So when you start, this is my issue when people start talking about white privilege. Like, if you're gonna attack white privilege from the Queen, you're not helping anybody, because there are plenty of instances of white privilege, like in our next door, maybe, like that affect us directly, So if you're gonna, if that's where you're gonna throw your energy behind, like, you're not helping anybody. Which, by the way, and Jonathan Smith was the commissioner of police. I can't remember exactly when, but we can all talk about, how the police system has not been fair to, generally speaking, fair to people that look like us. So you were the commissioner. Like, that's not, you're attacking white privilege from Windsor Palace. Like, that's not helping anybody. You know what I mean? So I am all for the historical, pointing it out and bringing up to people's minds or whatever. It's Sir John's building. He can do what he wants with it.
I also feel like if we're going back to 1995, things change, people change, politics change. So he's supposed to have the exact same view. He's supposed to hold on to that and be like, I'm never going to put this. Like, come on. We are a British colony. It is what it is. So we're going to accept certain things and then just pretend like
this is a problem.
Yeah. I don't understand it.
Well, actually, and Mark Bean actually pointed out, he made a good point in one of the replies to the post. He says, you didn't have a problem with the Queen when you were the commissioner of police and those checks were coming in, and that's the thing. Like, it was a good point. If you're gonna get upset with this, like, everybody in the civil service, even when I was there, we all serve at Her Majesty's pleasure.
Exactly.
So like, the whole it's the epitome of excess. It's his building. It wasn't his money. It wasn't government's money. it wasn't by all, relatively speaking, it wasn't a large sum of money, so
it's not by their means like 15,000.
I will say that one thing I do like about stuff like this is, and again, going back to him bringing up the historical part of it, it does spark the independence debate again, which I'm totally, I always appreciate that because I think it's a healthy discourse. I don't have a problem with that. But the whole, it's the epitome of excess is white privilege. Like, we got problems. We got our own problems to worry about that. Let's go. We do have a couple responses. I'll let you go ahead and read Soundcat Places one.
But why are we complaining though? Complain when your government does something like this, since they have backpedaled on so many promises. It's Sergio's building, and those businesses chose what to do with their money. Exactly. I don't understand. Like, I don't think we should start targeting. At the end of the day, they can choose. And when you have a business, you choose where your funds go. And I think that people do that evenly, especially in big companies. You choose what charities you support. So this is what they chose to do.
Let me see. James Birch says, Morning, James. Seems like an opportunity for those who want to move away from celebrating royals to get out on East Broadway to represent their concerns. Okay.
But it's funny. I feel like it was like a spark for a second, and then I feel like it's fizzled out already. Know what I mean? I feel like there was like, I felt like he thought that it was going to go somewhere, and then everyone kind of looked at it like,
yeah, I think he, I think he did kind of, again, like, I just got to say it again, like I was fine with pointing out the ironies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, I was 16, I think, when 1995. So, like, I wasn't paying it. I know. As soon as I said it, I was like, man, I shouldn't have said that. But like, I wasn't paying attention to politics like that. You know what I mean? And the other thing I have to say is that I think I might have touched on it already. When you start using something like this to talk about the issue of white privilege, I think you water down you water down that whole argument.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it makes it less relevant because it is a thing.
Yeah, and if we're gonna talk about it, let's talk about it straight. Let's
don't like
that's a minor nitpicky. Let's talk about the real issue.
Especially since the Queen and the British monarchy, in my view, has become less relevant. Mm-hmm. It's less relevant today than it was in 1995. Like, let's talk about, if you're going to talk about like using that white privilege argument on something like this, like that you wouldn't even go into like the wealth income inequality or something like that. You know what I mean? For those businesses to, or Sir John being so wealthy and everybody else struggling. Like, I don't even know if I agree with that one, but like, that would have been a more relevant discussion. But let's where are we? Because I gotta make sure I'm okay on the time. No problems.
Time.
Okay, Maya, we're gonna bring you in, Maya, and we're gonna just get I don't get your 2 cents, and then we'll take it over to the news.
Maya give her opinions on things like this?
Nope.
Ma'am.
All right, bye, Maya.
Maya's like, not my opinion. But at the end of the day, I'm here to say, who cares? Leave that man alone. That's his money. He can spend it not his money, technically. Whoever's money.
Businesses,
they wanted to do. This is what they wanted to do. And, I mean.
Let me see. Let's go through some more. We have some more comments here. Let me see. Sean Smith says, he is Sir John. He was knighted by the Queen. Yep. Bermuda going independent does not mean necessarily that the Queen will not be our head of state, as Bermuda could become a member of the Commonwealth. What is the former Commissioner of Police's point? Just saying. Yep. Teresa Ann Marie says, just because you're pro-independence doesn't mean you hate the Queen. Swan has always been respectful regardless. That's a good point as well. And Sancha, you want to do the boss's comment?
The Queen is not holding Bermuda hostage, nor is Great Britain. Bermudians as a collective feel more secure as one of her territories.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I guess I guess everybody's kind of
in the same wave. Yeah, we're all in the same wavelength, sir. I think that went over our head. We do not care at this point. We drive. I mean, if you just keep your eyes straight. If you're driving, you don't want to see it, keep your eyes straight. Don't look up.
Or take the ferry. All right, Maya, time for the news. Over to you.
Thank you, Phil, and thank you, Sancha. And thank you, everyone listening in this morning and making the Daily Hour a part of your daily routine. I'm Matt Palacio, and this is the Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. It's June 1st, so happy Pride Month, Bermuda. Today, we're starting your news break with the exciting sports news for your midweek. 2022 is looking like the year for breaking records. Sakari famous Bermudian high jumper set a national Bermuda record, outdoor record of 1.84 meters or 6 feet and a half an inch and qualified for the NCAA championships. And Caitlin Bob set a new 400-meter Bermuda national record at a time of 52.32 seconds and is set to compete in the NCAA championships as well. Jessica Lewis also secured third place in the World Para Athletics Grand Prix in Switzerland. And the latest in Bermuda sports news, the Bermuda Football Association announced their senior men's national team squad for the upcoming CONCACAF National League matches. The Queen's birthday parade will be taking place along Front Street on Saturday, June 4th in the morning. You've probably already seen the poster of the Queen as you enter town. The Queen will become the first British monarch to celebrate a platinum jubilee after 70 years of service. The Bermuda government will be sending out further details of what to expect on the parade day. And calling all artists, Greenlight Energy and Masterworks Bermuda are partnering together to offer prize money of $1,000 for their Green Design Challenge. They're looking for designs to place on a tote bag that explains what it means to be green in Bermuda. The winner will win $1,000 and their art printed on 200 canvas bags. Submissions are due Monday, June 6th. A reminder that it's the first day of hurricane season, and the Minister of National Security is predicting an above-average hurricane activity year. And finally, students planning to travel to Canada for university are encouraged to get their biometrics done here on island, as government has secured a Canadian consulate on June 6th and June 7th. For more information, you can visit gov.bn, or watch my latest episode on Instagram, Media Maya, explaining tips on entering Canada for school. And as for today's weather, we have a mix of sun and cloud and winds, northwesterly, moderate, and in the afternoon, the winds will become west-northwesterly, light in the moderate. And we have a high today of 80 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 74. And now back to Phil and Sancha for the Daily Focus.
Yeah, I didn't realize your boy made it to NCAA. I had a brain fart this morning just now. Sakari famous. I didn't realize he got to NCAA championships.
She, yes.
What did I say? He?
Yeah.
She. I'm sorry. It's still. Hey, look, it's 8 o'clock, man. I'm usually changing the diaper right now.
I think this is her second time, and I believe her university actually won it, well, the women for the outdoor championships last time. So I know she's a two-time champion. Yeah, she's been breaking a lot of records and just soaring in her career. Definitely had a huge comeback. She's doing amazing.
Awesome. All right, Maya. Thank you for the news today.
Thanks, Maya.
See you later. See you tomorrow. Are you on tomorrow?
Bye. No, that's not me.
Okay. All right. We'll back to Leona tomorrow. All right. Have a good one.
Bye.
So just now in the news break, right? I listened to my phone. My mom sent me a message, and Maddox driving down East Broadway he's like, is that Granny up there?
Oh my word! The children.
Maddox,
the children.
The Queen is his grandmother. So it's not bothering the kids. Leave it alone.
Yeah, I know, right? All right. So, days of the year. Is that you?
Yes, Phil.
Okay, go for it.
Today is Global Running Day. Whether you need to get back in the habit or start a new one, take the opportunity to improve your health and well-being by going for a run. Every year, millions of people all over the world find themselves out in the open road experiencing the joy, the thrill, the pain of recreational running. Global Running Day celebrates these intrepid souls and their dedication to health and exercise. We should all join in. So guess what I did this morning?
You went for a run?
I went for a run.
What time you wake up, man?
So I set my alarm for 5:45 and I was just like, oh my God, I'm so tired.
Hey,
I got up, I left at 6:15 and I was back by 6:45. But my reason for my run is that I promised one of my friends that I would do You Go Girl, the charity run this weekend. And honey ain't been on a run in forever. And when I tell you killed me, oh, Phil.
No, man, you got it. More power to you.
So, Barb, I hope you went for a run today.
Yeah, I know. I wonder who submitted today's date.
I know. You bullied me like you better talk about that today.
All right, we'll be right back. We'll go to the commercial. We'll be right back with Dr. Guishard right after this commercial. Please stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
We're featuring a range of remarkably effective household cleaning solutions made with ecologically sound ingredients and pleasing fragrances from Ecos, a company with over 50 years' experience producing plant-powered cleaning products. The founder was a veteran chemist in the cleaning products industry and started up Ecos as a response to the harsh chemicals he had routinely encountered. Try Ecos non-abrasive cream cleanser, vinegar window cleaner, and in spray bottles, Orange Plus and Parsley Plus cleaners, shower and floor cleaners, furniture polish, and stain and odor remover. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
Welcome back to the big show. I'm Philip Trott. She's Sancha Durham. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. It's time to welcome our guest for today, Dr. Mark Guishard, Director of the Bermuda Weather Service. It was going so well. Morning, Dr. Guishard. How you doing?
Good morning. How are you all today?
I'm good. So let's go right into it. We're going to talk about hurricanes today. Today is, correct me if I'm wrong, today is being June 1st, the start of the hurricane season, correct?
That's correct. Today is the first day of the Atlantic
hurricane. And it finishes November 30th.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No,
I should have just let you give that briefing.
Listen, we're flying this. You're dealing with the B team today. Sancho's a starter, but I'm coming off the bench.
No.
So I was saying, it finishes. Hurricane season goes from June 1st to November 30th.
That's correct.
That's correct. All right.
Absolutely.
So can we talk about a little bit about this hurricane season? It doesn't look like it's going to be as busy as last season. Is that correct? Can you speak to that? Or is that always something you want to preface? You want to take that with a grain of salt, or how does that work?
Absolutely. So I think it's worth saying that all of the seasonal predictions, which incidentally we don't do at the Weather Service or the Airport Authority. All of the seasonal predictions are for an above average season this year. Once again, and I think this is something like the 7th or 8th consecutive season where there has been a prediction of an above average season. We do have a lot of activity expected in the Atlantic as a whole, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we here in Bermuda are going to get a storm. But we should also always think about being prepared for whether or not we get one. But before I go into much more detail, I wanted to say just a quick response to you. You said you're on the B team, but no, I think you all are doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much once again for having us. The first day of hurricane season has become a bit of a tradition. And I also wanted to say thank you very much for my daily hour mug that your team provided.
Hold on.
Guishard, you just
see,
outed
like,
us all. We're all
right?
in trouble.
See,
that's a very sore topic. And we're gonna go on to the next question.
Okay, all right. Okay, we'll get into that offline. I gave your boss flack for that last year, and so I was pleased, but now
yeah, man, your boy roughed me up. So you said above average. What's average, first of all?
So average season right now, the averages are changing as the climate changes. So the current averages that that NOAA, the U.S. National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, have are, I believe it's 12 named storms, 6 of which will become hurricanes, and 3 of which will become major hurricanes, and all of the predictions are above that. And those averages, again, they kind of change over time. That's actually, I need to make sure I'm up to date with the most current averages, but regardless, the point is it's predicted to be above average this season. We've had an above average season last year. It was third most active season on record. The year before that, absolute record number of storms. We blew through the alphabet, went into the Greek alphabet, had to retire a number of storm names, et cetera. So I think the point here is that expect it to be an above average season every year going forward. But that also means that doesn't necessarily bode badly or well for Bermuda specifically. We could get one in a below average season, or we could get none in an above average season. It doesn't matter. We've seen both sort of scenarios set up.
Okay. So you said last year we had 30, and you said that kind of like blew through what the
2020 we had 30 storms.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned climate change. Sancha, you wanna ask this one?
Is there any connection between climate change and the strength and frequency of hurricanes?
Yes. So if I could share my screen, if you don't mind me doing that.
Yeah, I got you. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Just bear with me a second here. That's the one. Okay.
All right.
Are you able to see that?
Yep. There we go.
Great. And then move that one off here. So what you're looking at here is on the top, the record of the number of storms that we've had move through our local area since the 1960s. During that time, we have noted that the ocean is warming up, and ocean water, sea surface temperature is the fuel for hurricane activity. So in a recent publication we have through colleagues at BIOS, we tracked the number of hurricanes and their intensity moving through the Bermuda area, and have found that there's a pretty good correlation between our rising ocean temperatures here near Bermuda and also the number and intensity of storms moving through the local area. So yeah, there is a close link between ocean warming and hurricane activity. The extent to which that's going to impact the numbers of storms is a little bit unclear, but the intensities certainly are going up, and we should expect that they'll only get worse. But having said that, the sort of the good news is the predictions are getting better over time. So the bottom part of this slide is very much focused on how the cone of uncertainty, whenever we have a hurricane forecast, is decreasing over time, and the general predictions are getting better as we kind of move through year on year. So the science is getting better. The predictions are getting better when we do have a hurricane, and so there's a little bit more certainty about where they're going to go when we do get one.
So if we continue to see stronger and more frequent hurricanes, what can we do here in Bermuda to prepare ourselves for these trends?
Great. I mean, I think this is a really salient point. The fact that we've not seen a category, well, let me lay the baseline first. First of all, we have a pretty good level of resilience here in Bermuda. In fact, I say often, if you're going to get hit by a hurricane, Bermuda is the place to do it, because we have a certain amount of natural protection by way of the seafloor topography. The coral reef we have affords us some natural protection. We have sort of historical, cultural defenses by way of our approach to hurricanes, are sort of sitting up and taking notice. The very fact that we're doing this type of interview on June the 1st means that people are paying a little bit more attention every year about hurricanes. We have a lot of historical experience with hurricanes, especially in the last 20 years or so. And so we're somewhat well practiced, and we have a strong built environment with the very strong building code. Our buildings, our properties are built out of stone. So we've got a lot of things going for us in terms of resilience already built into the system. Now, as hurricanes get worse over time, and the potential, the risk goes up because hurricanes are potentially getting stronger and stronger. We should take note of the fact that although we have this resilience, we shouldn't be complacent. There is potential for say a Category 4 storm to hit us sometime in the future, and we haven't seen that in living memory. So in terms of preparations, I think what we should do is exactly what we do every year, just continue to maintain that vigilance, but sort of ramp it up earlier and earlier, like at this stage in the year. Don't wait till August to check to see if your shutters work, for example. Don't wait until the middle part of the season, until it's getting to that peak part of the season, September and October, to make sure you have a plan for yourself and your family and your organization. I think that's a key point right there, is just making sure we sit up and take notice right now, check all the things you need to check, and it's going to be different for everyone. Everyone's circumstances are going to lend themselves to a different hurricane plan for themselves individually. Their family, their pets, for example. Everyone's got a different set of circumstances and exposures to hurricane winds and storm surge.
So how does Bermuda's geographic location work in our favor in terms of direction and strength of hurricanes?
So we're fortunate in terms of there being, I mean, I mentioned that ocean temperature is the fuel for hurricanes. Because we're further north than our neighbors in the Caribbean, we actually have the luxury of slightly cooler ocean temperatures. So far, we don't get as many major hurricanes as they have seen in the last few decades. But we should really consider that we've got a bit of a grace period. Let's put it that way. That the ocean is warming to the stage where we might see more of those major storms. So right now, our geographical position is pretty good because of that. Having said that, we are right in the firing line of recurving hurricanes. I guess the other aspect of our geography that puts us in fairly good stead is that we're a small target. We're a small island. And as I mentioned, our kind of natural resilience built into the system. We don't have a long continental shelf that builds up storm surge. So we don't get as much as you might see in the United States, for example, or in the Caribbean. But to be sure, we do get some. So there's all these factors that mean that we have some built-in resilience, but we can't be complacent. We still have to really focus on the fact that these storms are getting worse. They are coming. There is the propensity for them to come close to the island every year, and we just need to maintain that high level of vigilance that we've and leverage our experience that we've had over the last 20 years or so.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I always feel like Bermuda is kind of blessed. Like, it always seems that whenever the hurricanes come this direction, I did know that because we're farther north, the waters are cooler, which tends to decrease the power of the storm. And you mentioned about the small target as well. It seems like, that's why they always seem to miss us. So you basically confirming a lot of stuff that I thought I knew, but thanks for, we do want to actually, don't forget to, if you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, we invite your questions and comments for Dr. Guishard. Look at this, Sancho. You see, look. You're bringing chaos. Dr. Guishard bringing chaos the first day of hurricane season. But you're wrong, though, Jamal. You're wrong, right? There's no reason that we don't have mugs. So he's not bringing the chaos. He's just highlighting.
You're digging my hole deeper, because I am the reason why I do not have a mug. So
whatever. He's been Bermuda often enough. Sean Smith has a question. I think I know the answer to this one, but I'm not going to answer. Are hurricanes only located in the Atlantic Ocean? Because I've never heard of one in the Pacific Ocean.
Good question. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No. Go ahead.
Okay. So good question. We have the phenomenon that we know of as hurricanes occurs in all the tropical ocean basins around the world. In the Eastern Pacific, they are called hurricanes. So in fact, just the other day, there was a hurricane that made landfall in Mexico called Hurricane Agatha. In the Western Pacific, they're referred to as typhoons. So when you hear about a typhoon hitting Japan or the Philippines, that's exactly the same phenomenon as we're talking about here in the Atlantic. Typically in the Pacific, the ocean temperatures are actually warmer, so they get typhoons and super typhoons that are very much stronger and more frequent than we get here in the Atlantic, for now at least. In other parts of the world, the Indian Ocean, the South Pacific, they refer to them as simply cyclones or tropical cyclones. So these are all the same phenomena. They all have different historical, cultural reasons for different names. And here in the Atlantic, the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, we call them hurricanes.
So it's basically just a regional.
That's right.
Regional titles. Okay. Charles Jeffers, Sancho.
Although today is the first day of hurricane season, is the likelihood of having hurricanes at the beginning or the end of the season less likely for Bermuda?
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Jeffers. The peak of hurricane season is middle of September, and it tends to be that our main, the biggest risk that we face in Bermuda is between August and October. There used to be an expression, September, remember, October, all over. We should forget that. The last few seasons, we've seen a number of hurricanes move through our area in October. And some of the big impacts we've seen, Gonzalo happened in October. Hurricane Sam last year, which didn't actually impact us directly, but was the strongest storm to come within 200 miles of the island in the record ever, was in October as well. So I think September and October are certainly the peak period because that's when the ocean is warmest. But June to November, we could see a tropical storm or hurricane at any time. And in fact, it's worth pointing out that the National Hurricane Center in the U.S., who have responsibility for the entire North Atlantic and Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico, they are currently monitoring the remnants of Hurricane Agatha that I mentioned just now that hit Mexico from the Pacific side. Its remnants have gone over Mexico and are currently in the Gulf of Mexico, Caribbean Sea region. And they're looking at that as a potential formation later on through the weekend into next week. And so very long-term projections are that we may see the first named storm in the next week. And when I say we in the Atlantic, I don't necessarily mean us in Bermuda, but we've certainly got an eye on it as well.
Okay. And to your point, Rosalind Famous did just ask, is Hurricane Agatha tracked to head our way into Bermuda?
Not as yet. In fact, if I may quickly share the screen once again. This is this morning's outlook from the National Hurricane Center showing that there's a sort of a 50% chance of something forming out of the remnants of Agatha and then sort of tracking towards Florida. Thereafter, we could see a storm in the Western Atlantic go north and west of Bermuda, or a weak thing go south and east of us. So we're not. It's way too early to say with any degree of certainty whatsoever because the system hasn't even formed yet. The other thing you can see out to and for the audience, that's where Bermuda is, where my cursor is pointed right now. This other system here is a very weak system. We don't anticipate much in terms of activity from that.
So that little 10% is basically the chance of it develop. Is it the chance of it hitting us or developing into something stronger?
So this is simply a chance that it might develop into a tropical depression, storm, or hurricane in the next 2 days. And this 50% down here is the main the remnants of Hurricane Agatha that I was talking about before. Right. And that may very well move into the Gulf of Mexico or the Caribbean Sea. Again, very, very early days yet to say whether or not where it's going to go, how intense it's going to get, or even if it's going to form into anything. But I show this to say that it's June the 1st, it's the beginning of hurricane season, and already we're seeing a ramp up in activity worth monitoring. So from now onwards, please, everyone, do just keep an eye on things.
Just be vigilant.
Visit our website, weather.bm, for the local perspective on what's happening.
I kind of think everybody, well, I know I do. I got weather.bm bookmarked. So,
ready.
Teresa Ann Marie asked, could we ever see a tsunami?
Good question. Pivoting a little bit away from hurricane season, but certainly we, in addition to our responsibilities for weather here in Bermuda, we're also the tsunami warning center for the island as well, just by virtue of having a 24/7 operation and having people that are used to dealing with issuing warnings. So yeah, we're always monitoring the systems that are put in place to detect and warn against tsunamis. The short answer is yes, we could see a tsunami. In fact, there have been historical events that have pointed to tsunami activity in the Atlantic, confirmed and in fact indeed measured in Bermuda, but not to the extent that you're thinking. I think there's sorry, I don't know what you're thinking, but I'm assuming when most people hear the word tsunami, they think big 30-foot wave making large impacts on a coastline. Because of and I mentioned this before, the shape of our seafloor, we're a very narrow pedestal in the deep ocean. We don't get that accumulation of wave energy that you would in tsunami or storm surge for that matter. So we're not concerned about a major tsunami that you might see in, say, Japan or the west coast of North or South America. But to be sure, if there were an Atlantic tsunami, and the sort of statistics point to something like a 1% annual chance that a tsunami could be spawned in the Caribbean, that would come out into the Atlantic and cause some issues for us. Think about very strong currents. Think about Flats Inlet when the tide's going in and out. Those very rough currents. Imagine that everywhere around the island. That's that's the type of thing we should be considering when we think about tsunamis.
Okay.
We continue to work with the EMO on tsunami preparedness, though.
Okay, I got you. Thank you. We do have one more question. Jamal asks, and I don't think it's a silly question either, because I was thinking the same thing. Is there anything that can be done to reduce the chances of hurricanes?
Not a silly question at all. It's something that's been posed for a number of years and decades. I think when we think in terms of risk, like what are the potential consequences, adverse consequences from an event, we have to think in terms of three things. One is the hazard, and that's, in this case, that's the hurricane itself. Think about our exposure to that hazard, who and what are in harm's way, and our vulnerability. In other words, what does that mean for us? What does a wind speed of X amount or a storm surge of X height, how does that actually impact us? So the hazard, vulnerability, and exposure. The things that we can actually control are our exposure to hurricane activity, meaning instead of being out in the elements, be inside in a hardened building, and our vulnerability. And our vulnerability is the thing that we really reduce by practicing, by having a hurricane plan, by making sure that we're not in harm's way or exposed. So those are the things that we can control. We could go down the road of trying to engineer solutions to preventing hurricanes coming in a certain direction, but it's worth noting that hurricanes have a natural function in our climate. They transport heat out of the tropics to the poles. So what about adverse or unintended consequences if you start to interfere with that? Also, for that matter, it would take a phenomenal amount of energy, effort, time, money to actually engineer a solution that would prevent a hurricane intensifying or tracking towards us. What if you, and speaking about unintended consequences, what if by doing that, you track it somewhere else? Or later on in the year, it means that heat builds up somewhere else and somewhere else gets impacted worse. So there are a lot of, because of the complexity of these systems, my opinion is that we should not be messing with the system itself. We should be doing what we can to affect our own resilience in the face of nature.
I didn't even think about that, man. Thanks. So we are pretty much out of time, but there's one more question that I did want to ask you, and I know that we tend to because we tend to fare pretty well when it comes to hurricanes. I personally think that sometimes we don't take it as seriously as we probably should or could. I've one of the things that I'm taking from you this morning is basically vigilance. So just to, if we're gonna, as you leave us today, what is the most important preparation tips that you want to make sure that we have to take away from this conversation?
Thanks. I definitely wanted to leave with sort of a high-level statement, and that is basically don't be complacent. It is easy to think of times when we've had fewer hurricanes. Think about between the sort of the 90s and 2003's Hurricane Fabian, we didn't have a lot of activity. Side note, incidentally, the independence referendum was impacted by Hurricane Felix in 1995. So these can have big societal impacts as well as interrupting day-to-day business. So don't be complacent. Even if there's years that we haven't seen hurricanes, it's not a reason to kind of relax and not pay attention. If you have not done so yet, review, or if you haven't created one, create a hurricane preparedness plan for you and your family, your business, and incorporate lessons learned over previous years. We've had enough hurricanes over the last 10, 20 years that we kind of know what to expect from a major impact. We know the power is probably going to go out. We know communications may be interrupted. We know that businesses will be interrupted, but only you know what your own impacts are to your property, to your family, to your to those around you, your neighbors, those that are vulnerable around you. So I think the main message is make a plan, and it doesn't have to be a complicated one. It could be as simple as, okay, grandma's going to come and stay with us, or all right, we need to check these shutters and make sure that these ones that are a little weak don't fall off, and bring the stuff inside. Just very simple things, and everyone's got different circumstances. So I can't make the EMO, the Bermuda Weather Service, we can't make a plan for everyone's circumstances. It's incumbent on everyone to really think about their own arrangements for in case there's a hurricane.
All right. Basic stuff, but common sense stuff, it seems like. Thanks, Dr. Guishard, for coming on this morning with us and giving us some more knowledge and safety tips about hurricanes. I guess we'll see you same time next year, June 1st.
Hopefully.
Unless something major happens.
And at that stage, I expect you will all have one of these.
Wow. You said you were going to leave on a high note. This man is still flashing the cup. Dr. Guishard, you enjoy the rest of your weekend. We're going to have a spirited debate in the TDH group chat after this, I'm pretty sure.
Great.
Have a good one, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody. We're going to just bounce off to a commercial really quick. Please stick and stay with us. We'll be right back.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security, there's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
I'm part of the SSCP, giving us opportunities to go out and sell, which is what I'm doing today.
One of the most important things I learned in the SSCP is that failure is just a part of being an entrepreneur.
As a vote community, then you can't go anywhere, can you? I just believe it's a really beautiful and amazing experience for everybody.
A lot of late nights being up, trying to finalize things, especially for me.
You don't have to do everything at once. Little steps is the key to success.
They helped me go through every step of the way.
It has helped me gain more confidence, so that's one thing.
I'm Marley Spriggs and I am an entrepreneur.
My name is Joshua Allen and I am an entrepreneur.
My name is Trey Robertson Richards and I am an entrepreneur.
My name is Namira Rayner and I am an entrepreneur.
My name is Vincent Darrell and I am an entrepreneur.
I'm Shayla Swan and I'm an entrepreneur.
I am Sophia Pasinhan. I am an entrepreneur.
My name is Zion and I'm a young entrepreneur.
All right, welcome back to the big show. I'm Philip Trott, she's Sancha, and it's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. We just had a great conversation with Dr. Mark Guishard, director at the Bermuda Weather Service. If you like this show, give us, what Jamal say? Give us a love, a like, share the stream. Good morning to everybody listening on the radio. Sancha, it's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol. Are you ready? No, I think you would like this one. This is, you have to guess this song. I'll give you extra points if you can guess the artist, but this pretty much guess this song. All right, I'm gonna read the lyrics to you. There's a say it, don't sing it. I think he calls this one. All right, ready? Okay. And I'll see if let me see if you're watching.
This is the
or
part,
listening. Sorry, go ahead.
This is the part of the show where I freeze up everyone.
No, man, you're not gonna freeze. You're not gonna freeze. Okay. I'm gonna say it. All right. Can't stand it when you're away. Without a doubt, you're the best thing that's happened to me. And I just can't wait to have you by my side. You know, whenever you're around, a smile is all that you're going to see. I'll keep going. Because you make me feel.
Just read the chorus.
Okay. Well, the chorus, if I say the chorus, you're gonna get it.
Jamal's screaming.
I thought you were gonna get this because you were a majorette.
Because I was a majorette? What? We marched to drums.
You didn't have but they have this song. They have, let me see.
Oh, goodness.
No, it's not Natural Woman. I thought we gotta love, we gotta love.
Not getting that. That was like a Blues song.
Oh, that's right. You know,
you would have said
no, but I remember somebody was out there dancing to that, man.
That was Dynamic City Rockettes. Like,
oh, that's what it was.
Me. I was a bad son.
This didn't go well. But I that was like, it is, you know what? It is a Blues Cruise song because I'd be up on my hind knees on the
listen, that was a
long tail.
Blues Cruise song. We gotta love. Yeah, I would have drawn it to that, but no, I wasn't lifting my knees high and doing all that. No.
Okay. Well, everybody out there looked good back in the day. So that one just sticks in my head. I don't know why when I hear that song, I think Majorette. But
me as a rockette. I wasn't a rockette.
No disrespect.
They were great.
They were great. And they were I think they
took a lot of energy, you know.
I know, man. I was out there too, banging my drum. Sweating. You know? All right. Sancha, any thoughts about today's show before we wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, lots of interesting tidbits for hurricane season. It's a lot of things that I didn't know, didn't consider. So thank you for that. And I hope everyone gets ready early. You know, check those generators, and if you have them.
Check on Granny.
Yes, make sure you check on the elderly. Make sure they have everything they need. Flashlights, candles, all those things. And then as far as the John Swan building, everybody, I just feel like sometimes we need to mind our business. Sorry. In this instance, that is not your building. That man can put whatever he wants on it, and just keep your eyes down, head straight.
Catch the ferry.
Yeah, let it be. Those are my thoughts.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Everybody listening on BCG Radio. Everybody tune in via Facebook.
You also let me do my quote for the day.
I'm sorry. I always do this. Sorry. Go ahead. Daily inspiration. My bad. Go ahead. Jump on your toes.
Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. And that is by Barack Obama.
Amen. It's an excellent note to leave on. We'll be back tomorrow. At least I'll be back. You're back tomorrow?
No, I'm not. You're not going to see me for the rest of the week. So I will see everyone next week. Have an awesome week, awesome weekend.
All right. I think it's going to be me and Sherry tomorrow. If that's it, everybody, Bermuda, we love you. Have a safe day. We'll see you back tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day.